prepared doing the train until we came here, but let's get it. Okay. Yes. Okay. Vapa Media. We are like a 2-year-old Finnish content agency. You know, people who have ever heard of it.
Content agency.
Content agency. Yes. Okay. Basically, normally, don't worry, nobody ever knows because it's quite a new term, a new concept. And basically, what we do is we design content strategy, or more like strategic approach for companies when they go online environment, or they want to go to social media, and we want to do some cool stuff, maybe some approaches to Facebook or other social media approaches. But quite often, what is missing with the companies is the big thinking behind it all. So this is what we do. And with Ilona, we got to the business 2 years ago. It was just like a vague idea that we got. We didn't really actually know what we were doing, to be honest. We were like, yeah, it's like we have journalistic background. I think that the way that journalists think of designing or creating messages, like from the audience's point of view, is good. Companies should do that as well. So let's smash the idea together. And this was how it all started. And as being said here, the online environment really has changed the communication a lot. It's like big cultural shock that many companies are experiencing at the moment. What should they do? Because nobody cares. There's so much content online. You can find, well, you know, you all use internet every day here.
And I think what we realize, everyone's talking about this, like online environments changing everything. No one said like, okay, what you should actually do. So that's what we want to be. We wanted to be the people who would say that this is actually what you should do. This kind of content you should produce if you want to communicate and interact with your customers. That was maybe the first idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
And after this brief warm-up, this is Ilona.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm Ida. Yes. Okay. Well, as growth, there might be some spelling mistakes because
I was just correcting. We thought this would be in Finnish, and then we kind of like changed it. But yeah, anyway, it's like getting. Let's go to the next slide.
Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So as you can see, actually it's all in Finnish and in English. But what this actually says is what has happened so far. What has been the big step that we have made? Like Ida told, in 2010 we started our business. Of course, it was first all quite overwhelming with the paperwork. I think everyone who has ever set up a business knows what it's like. You have to fill a pile of paper, you have to go to different agencies, you have to do things that you never thought you would do, and then suddenly you have a company and a business. And this is what we did. And we quit from our previous jobs and just decided that, if you're going to do something, because I think lots of people said that, why can't you do this, why can't you do this on weekends, for example? So we would be working on our previous jobs and then maybe do a little bit of Vapa Media. But we decided that if you want to do something, you got to do it full. If you want to be successful, you cannot like do it with your one hand. You have to go and grab it. You have to grab the success by its horns and like take it to yourself. Otherwise, you will never get it. And this is what I've learned. I think the past 2 years, like if you don't push it, if you don't give your fullest, nothing will ever happen.
Just a bythought by now, like this might seem like, yeah, of course, online content nothing really like, whoa, you have changed everything. But to be honest, like the ideas that we presented, they were quite shocking to many of the companies going through with their communications and marketing departments and working on their little scales over there. So as being said, there was actually something which might seem nowadays even like, it's okay, it's quite natural to think about content and being relaxed in an online environment. But yeah.
Anyway,
continue. Yeah.
Let's go ahead. On 2010, when we started together, because we were selling content, we were saying that companies should produce more relevant content to their customers. Of course, we want to do that by ourselves. Basically, when we started, we were blogging, we were doing videos, we were doing blogs, we were doing everything by ourselves. But I think that really showed us that even a company that has 2 women or 2 men, you know, whatever, can produce good content, can do good marketing. It's never a matter of resources. Some big companies actually now say to us, oh, we would want to do, you know, good interaction with companies. We would love to be in contact with our companies, but we just don't have any resources. We say, no, this is not the case. If we can do it now, if we can do it then, everyone can do it. Okay, so 2011, we grew a bit. We got a new partner, Matti Oksanen, who came from an advertising agency background. So what he brought to Vapa Media was, of course, connections and maybe this like older wisdom. Helene said that what she would have wanted to have was this maybe older people who have been working longer in the business to advise her. Well, we got that from Matti, and like Helene said, that it has been really useful when we've been negotiating with clients. Because that's the hardest part, because you've never done that before, especially if you're young. And then suddenly you are facing these big bosses who are like tough, who only think of business. They don't care about you, they just think business, and you have to kind of face that. And face that in your own ways. But I think Matti really brought some kind of experience and knowledge to our company. The second big part was actually about 6 months ago. We went to London, Content Strategy Forum, where we did a workshop and found lots of contacts in the content strategy field. And actually when we went to London, I think we were still a bit like, we didn't really know what we're doing. We knew that we wanted to do content, we knew we wanted to do content strategy, but we still had kind of vague idea of what is our mission, for example, in Finland, in the marketing or communication scenes. When we got there, we met lots of people. We met people from the United States, from all over Europe. We actually found out, okay, so this is what we do. It is a real thing. Content is big. Content is important. And it kind of reassured us that we have to do this. Because, of course, if you're the only player in the field, like we used to be as a content agency, it's sometimes you start to doubt yourself. Are we doing the real thing? Is this a good thing? Is it actually something that is going to be successful? But here, meeting other people actually reassured us that yes, we are on the right track. And I actually think that if you have a startup, maybe the best thing you can do is to connect with other startups. And I think that's why these kind of events are great. I think that's why Aalto ES in Helsinki is a great thing, because you can actually connect with other people, and you can realize and you can reassure yourself that I'm doing something that has a meaning, then this can work. There are other people who are doing this thing. If you are just by yourself, you know, you get so easily lost in your own doubts and your own feelings of desperations, which sometimes come, as Helena said. Okay, 2012, so in the beginning of this year, we had a huge step in our business and the whole field. So like Ida said, when we started talking about content and content strategy, no one talked about it. There are now few companies that also do content, which is a great thing, because if companies want to buy a service, and now I'm not talking about an application or you know, some kind of service, I'm talking about a service which is based on brain power. If there's no competition, companies might find it hard to buy it. For example, like when we first started talking about content, everyone was like, no, content, what is this? One company in Finland offering this is bullshit. But of course now when there's heaps of companies offering it, it starts to seem more real. It's more real when there's more people offering it. So don't be afraid of having competition. Competition can be a great thing, because it actually proves that there is a field, there is some kind of thought in your business. So, content strategy seminar, we organized it with University of Helsinki, and that was the first content strategy event in Finland, and I think that was a major thing for us because we got lots of deals from there. Companies suddenly realized this is a big thing. Companies realize that this is something that is already done all over the world, but not in Finland. And of course, big companies want to be the forerunner.
And it has a name now.
Yeah, there's a name. There is something called content strategy. 2012, also what is big thing, what is still yet to happen, is a book that we are publishing by Sanoma Pro. It's one of the biggest publishing houses in Finland, and that is called Strateginen ote verkkoon, meaning strategic grip to the online environment. And that is of course a huge step, because want to do something new, you have to be able to convince the people you are selling it to. I think someone asked here that nowadays you can only do business by, was it stealing your clients from your previous job, and then it was being part of something new. Was it that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably was that. So I think if you want to be part of something new and you want to really make it, you have to communicate it. If you're doing something new and you never tell about it, no one will find you, because people are so stuck in their old habits.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, you know, even though it sounds like, ooh, we're doing something new, it's great, it's fabulous. It is, but it's a lot of work, because, you know, here like we have this word, uudisraivaaja, which is like
Pioneer.
a pioneer who goes like first, like, yes, I'm going through this, I'll bring the message. And of course, it's great, you're the first, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay, basically, this is how Vapa Media and our thinking has been developing. As Ilona said, you know, we weren't offering content strategy 2 years ago. We are like, I think companies should offer and provide better content to our customers, but maybe we have some new thoughts how to maintain that. Maybe bring in some ideas from journalism to do that, and let's think more like as they should in online environment. But it wasn't enough. Quite soon we noticed that we are like talking too much in the presentation. When we were meeting the clients, or you know,
Like now,
Yeah.
we're talking too much.
yes, yes, especially when we're the two of us. I think
Yeah.
we're more like when we're alone. Anyway, so we noticed that definitely this is too little. It's something people, well, the big bosses once again, they were like ching ching. They didn't have the sound in their minds. They didn't really see the value of what does this content bring to my company. Okay, so so the next step for us that we noticed that when we were doing some web projects and you know some concepts, we noticed that there's actually in the culture of designing web pages, there never has been a person who is in charge of the content design. There has been like creative designer making the visual side, and on the other side the technical guy. But there actually never has been this third partner who's been actually thinking, okay, who are the target audiences, to whom are we doing all these, which roles does all the platforms that we got, you know, why do we have all these, and you know, what kind of content in the end we do and how. So we kind of noticed that, we actually might have a purpose here. You know, we are the missing part. And it was really great to see that, yes, the feeling that we got stronger at that point. Okay, the third step, the media. Ooh, they started to talk about content marketing. It was that, you know, as you know, we feel that in some sense, social media was a really strong buzzword, like, ooh, let's go to social media, and you know, everybody's in social media, but yes, but going to the detail, it was really hard to say that what you should actually do there. And we think that content marketing is a really similar term in that sense, that it's easy to say that, yeah, we're gonna do some content marketing, or do you have some content marketing ideas, which sounds like, okay, you know the new hip term of this month, but what does it actually mean? How do you do it? And we kind of like, on the other hand, we were happy that, okay, this is good, media, and people start to talk about content. We're like, maybe we do content marketing then, so maybe it's our thing. But quite soon we noticed that content marketing doesn't really, we don't know what it is. And it's quite dangerous if you go selling something that you don't know what is. So, the next and the final step that we're here right now is we really got into content strategy, as Ilona said, in London when we went to the seminar. Because we didn't really realize, okay, what's the difference even, like content marketing, content strategy. But there, you know, we were talking a lot with different kind of professionals, and we realized, okay, this is like the basic ground designing kind of a thing that, like thinking, content strategy means like, first we know where we are, then we know where we want to go, and then we start thinking how we go there. That's pretty much that. Planning what you're going to do in web and how. So, as being said,
I think this really shows having these 4 steps of like, first, okay, journalistic content, then having this like, okay, content planner, and then having this like, so we do content marketing, and then finally content strategy. I think what it shows that if you have a great business idea, don't be afraid to change it. Because if you see that it's not working, it is not working, be prepared to change your thing, go back, redo something, and then go back to the customers. That is not mistakes you have made. It's only something that, it's only a road that you've been following. And this is the most important thing. And of course here, what you can see, what is similar to all of these steps, there's content. So all the time we've known that this is a place where we have to go, this is the road that we have to take. But we've been also able to change it at points. We have been listening to our audiences, listening to our customers, and then doing something that we know how to do, that is our speciality, and then what is also, of course, useful for our customers. So this is, I think, something that everyone should learn, that if you have a great idea, be prepared to change it, and if you get feedback, don't take it personally. Take it as an advice.
Yeah, be able to learn, you know.
Exactly.
Okay, so basically, you know, I think that also one of the lessons that we learned is that we have been really looking for the role. What is our role in the field of communication and marketing? What are we? Are we something between digital agencies and communication agencies? Are we somewhere between social media agencies, and what are we? But I think now, after like learning and trying different things for the past 2 years, we really noticed that we are the ones who want to provide companies with their own strategic map, their roadmap for being in online. And it's great. I think, you know, when you notice that you're kind of doing the same thing as everybody is doing, it's not probably the best thing to do. Because if we are talking about starting a company, you should always provide something new, something fresh, something to hold on. Yeah.
And I think what we really noticed, that what is our niche. Of course, there are lots of companies that do, for example, social media strategy, like Civipop does, I know that, and there are, of course, other companies who do this. But what we want to do, we want to research the audiences, and then when we have researched the audiences and the content they do, then we want to think for the company, okay, what could be the content you do? And there's actually a great example by Lego. I don't know if any of you heard about this example, but Lego was in a bit of trouble about 5 years ago. Of course, their sales were going down because lots of kids and teenagers were playing, you know, video games, online games, playing with their smartphones. And what Lego did, they didn't just stand in the fiber. What they did, they started researching the content that is produced by the customers. They started researching it not only in the terms of is it negative or is it positive, but actually what are the people talking, in which kind of context they are bringing Lego up. And what they actually found in this research, that they have a brand new, whole new customer group that they never knew about, which is called the AFO group, adult fans of Lego. So just by searching content that is done in online environment, they found that they have a user group that they never realized they had. The user group that uses Lego totally differently than they think people would use it. So of course these adult fans didn't use Lego to play with them, but actually build really, really difficult and really, you know, massive architectural buildings. So that's the thing about content. Like if you have research, if you research your customers, if you research the content they are doing, and by that you start thinking about what kind of content I should produce, you can actually do some really, really good results. And this is what we've been starting to do. So not just strategy, as in let's bring 5 people into a room to drink latte and then drink, oh, this is the strategy. Not that. Actually researching what is the best way to do content for different companies. So just to go maybe a few years back, about 2 years back, almost like to the date, people will tell you you will not make it. They will say this is a bad idea. They will say, what about if I get sick from the cakes? Someone will say that to you. But you know, it doesn't matter, because one day someone will say this to you. And this is exactly what has happened to us. when we first started 2 years ago, when we were pitching our idea, someone said to us, "You will never make it. You need to be a part of an ad agency, or you will never ever make it. This is a ridiculous idea, and you know you will be bankrupt in a month." Of course, we didn't believe him, but we decided we're going to do our own thing. And this is a comment I got from actually one of our clients a month ago, when I was explaining what we actually do, what is content strategy. I wish I could explain more about that now, but I don't think we have any time. And I explained what can we do with content strategy. This is what she said. It's a great business idea. I wish I had come up with that myself. But you know, if you believe in this and you stop, you will never make it here.
Okay, about the challenges for a bit. Of course, you know, when you start something new, and then again there are these old players, and they're huge, and they have their systems, and they have then their, you know, 35 employees and whatever. So you might feel a bit small, like this bird here, like, yeah, but I have a new idea. And you know, sometimes even though it's great to do something new, but as I said, you know, it can be really tough, and you got like. And Helena was telling that, you know, like not to take things personally, you've been learning about it. Like for me, it's been the same thing, you know, really learning that not to really look what's happening, what has happened in the field before. I think, of course, you should know it, learn it, and then go past and
forget it.
Forget it, yeah. And because if you just do what these like alligators do, you know, you might as well work for them. No, that's that. What we have done, I think, you know, it's been like a short time. We've been up and running for 2 years, and we've been doing all these reports and seminars and you name it. I think we've been like so active, like almost, you know, it gets tiring at some point, but having a good week off and then continuing. I think it's really important to stay moving, stay thinking, and, you know, manage also to have time to have new thoughts. Not only, okay, now I have this one good thought, let's follow it to the end, because that's not the way. You have to be developing your idea all the time. And of course, it's not only about that you think you have a good idea. I think you also really have to believe in it. Because if you don't believe in your product or service or whatever, no one else will. So I think you really have to be religious in that sense.
And I think we were supposed to talk about what is it being a woman entrepreneur, and you know, I don't know, having a different chromosome. I don't think that really has anything to do with anything. But of course, you know, sometimes
I think it's a benefit.
I think it's a benefit
yeah.
as well, because you know, if you meet a woman entrepreneur, you can immediately connect with her, and you can, I don't know, I've never thought of being a woman entrepreneur. I've actually never thought of being an entrepreneur. I've always been just the person who wants to do stuff. And I think that's a pretty good philosophy for you. Okay, so I think this is it. Yeah, so thank you for this messy show.